Miss Ma'am, welcome back. Like I said, I've got 5 o'clock. I'm going to call this work session of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that Miss Rich is absent. Everybody else is accounted for. And Miss Rich is under the weather. So. Where is my agenda? For some reason my folder doesn't have one. All right, so Jonathan, you want to give us an update on our Q3 goals?
Sure. Mayor, Council, our Q3 goals are still on track. Still the biggest concern I have meeting the Q3 goals are the pickleball courts in terms of getting somebody in time to assess the site and really put a firm cost estimate on it. Biggest thing that I think you and a lot of folks are concerned about are City Hall and the rec center bid process. Checked with Barry Mott and his team today, and it looks like we're still on track to actually advertise for bids in September for both of those projects, about 2 weeks apart, and then open the bids in October, and then we'll see where we're at in terms of the budget scope of the project. I think later on tonight, also on the Phase 3 resurfacing, I don't think we got formal permission from the council to go out and seek bids for that. So we'll be asking for that and move forward on the Phase 3, which we've broken down into an A and a B. We're estimating that total, that'll be about $6.8 million worth of resurfacing. Other than that, I think we're still on track. We have our budget meeting next Thursday, 25th. And most of our appropriations folks have responded affirmatively that they will be there. We still have one that I don't think we're meeting with, which is the Enterprise City School System.
All right, any questions of Jonathan? All right, we'll move on to reviewing our agenda. If you want to turn into your regular meeting packets. Should be a relatively uneventful meeting tonight, I believe. We've got the consent agenda, which is our meeting minutes and some contract billings for CDG engineers for the roundabout. We've got KPS Group for our comprehensive plan, Fine Getty for our state governmental affairs, Civic Plus for our Muni Code support fee, and then a travel request from Parks and Rec. Any questions, concerns on the consent agenda? All right, then we'll turn over the floor to the mayor and Chief Moore for some recognition of some officers. We'll steal their thunder on that. Then privilege of the floor and staff reports. Our only item of old business is the awarding the bid of the Cdbg demolition project phase 1 to Hopper Moore, DBA BMI, in the amount of $35,350. Barry, Jonathan, y'all have any comments on the Cdbg demolition?
No, sir. We took the first bids on the first package, which was 7 houses, and the low bid came in just a little bit under what we had projected for those first 7 houses. We've also got an additional 13 houses for phases for the second and third batch. We're going to break those up into 2 different batches and put those on the street. So tonight you see the bid package for the first batch was 7 houses, and it came in on budget. You'll see packages 2 and 3 coming to you pretty soon.
Okay. We think we can keep those unit prices around the same.
Yes, sir. I think I forget what the number was, like 6,000, 7,000 per dwelling.
Yeah,
is what the number was. And I think we're just under that number for what we had budgeted for. So I think we'd planned 40 to 45 homes to have demolished in the CDBG grant. And at that pace, we'll hit the 40, 45 homes. So I was very pleased to see the bid prices coming in holding at what we projected.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then we've got our adoption of the FY 2023 transportation plan. This is something we've been doing. I think this may be our third year doing this, isn't it? At least our second year since the fuel tax.
The Rebuild Alabama Act obviously makes this a requirement. Every municipality has to adopt a plan every year to basically say what you're going to do with the money for the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
The particular plan that you have is basically a duplicate of last year's plan because we're still in the Phase 3 Master Street Resurfacing list, and that basically says that's how the money's going to be spent. I spent time, reviewed it with the mayor, and we talked through how to handle this, and he agreed this was the best thing to put in here and keep it the same as last year. I got the $170,000 from Leanne. That's what was budgeted and estimated as the fuel tax for the coming year. So
this keeps us compliant with being
right.
able to collect and spend that money.
That's correct. This has to be done by the end of August, so that's why it's on this agenda.
Okay. You might have any concerns? I mean, I don't think we're going to turn that money down. So, and we're already spending much more than it. So. All right. Application for funding assistance for FY 2023 airport improvements. Who wants to explain this to us? Again, I think this is something we do routinely, right?
Yes, sir. So part of the FA process, we have to pre-apply, do the pre-applications, and that's due. Used to be in November. They backed it up a little bit, a couple months for this year. So we're pre-applying for the rest of the money for land acquisition for the runway extension project. So this is a pre-application, just putting our name in the hat, saying we're going to request that money. And then first quarter, March, April of next year, we'll get an actual grant offer from the FAA. We'll go through the actual application process at that point. But this is typical. We do this every year at about this time or a month later. So it's just pre-application for the AIP project.
All right. Any questions on that? All right. Then next item, back to you on the sewer utilities relocation.
It is, and Glenn can answer that. But part of the project was the betterment portion of the project was part that the city would have to take care of.
Basically, where we improve upon what was there
That's
before.
right. We put back exactly what we had, but we wanted to enlarge the size of some of those utilities that we had to give us more capacity. So the betterment portion of that, the city's responsible for. So that's what you see there on your agenda item.
All right. Then authorize mayor to execute poly task order. So this is for the design of the multi-sports complex at PV Park.
Yes, sir. So that item is what you got is that the PV Park project is basically split into two parts. The first part is the one on the college side, on the college property that's there. That budget item right now is about a $4 million construction estimate at this point. So this is to the work authorization for Poly to finish up their civil and design package for that portion and take it all the way through bid for that portion of the project.
What's the schedule on that?
We're looking to start advertising in September and taking bids in October.
Okay. Any questions on? All right, then the next thing is phase 3 resurfacing.
So phase 3 resurfacing, Paulie had gone ahead and put together a list of phase 3 projects. We drove all the streets and looked at them. The roads that he had in his list that he'd already designed, I broke those out as a phase 3A. So we go ahead and get those things going, advertise and get a construction. He and I are going through the phase 3B list. It's something I'd like to go ahead and get done in this phase 3, but projects that we're either working with the water department about, can we go ahead and get these utilities out of the way? They were high risk projects, but ones that I wanted to go ahead and get out of the way and get in this 3B. It made sense if we were in a neighborhood, for example, and we had a crossroad that we need to go ahead and get done. They're going to try to go ahead and get some of those utilities out of the way. So while we're in a neighborhood, we can get those roads paved. We're not bouncing all over the city. So we're refining over the next week or 2 weeks. We'll have the phase 3B list. And by next council meeting, if that's okay with you, I'd like to go ahead and present to you next council meeting a phase 3 list of all the projects that we'll be bidding. I don't want to put a street out there that we're going to do this. We can't get the utilities off. And I don't want someone to say you're paving my street and then it doesn't get paved. I don't think that would be.
Now, those water utilities, is that something we're going to bid out or do in-house?
So the ones that we're talking about right now is some stuff they're doing in-house with water line utilities. And And he and I are working with Alan trying to see what we can and cannot do. But we have 3A lists that's about ready to go. If y'all approve that tonight, we'll start advertising that tomorrow morning, Glenn. They'll start advertising tomorrow. So for the 3A.
No problem with the gas, folks, right?
So we've looked at utilities that are out there. Not saying we don't have any problems with utilities, but the 3A list is pretty safe for us to go ahead and move forward with.
So you said you do have the 3A list. It's the 3B that you're still working on?
It's going to be a full 3. It's going to be a phase 3 paving list, but I'll have it broken out by 3A and 3B. So hopefully we'll have that refined by the end of the week. As soon as I have it done with Glenn and he and I both give a thumbs up, I'll just email that out to you for y'all to share about what will be bid. So
Awesome.
yes, sir.
All right. Next item is you also. PV Park Multi-Sport Complex requests bids.
So this is go ahead and request permission from council to go ahead and take the plan that Polly is working on now for that same portion and to go ahead and seek bids, start advertising September with a bid date sometime in October. To go ahead and ask your permission to do that.
All right. Then some equipment.
I do. I've got a couple pieces of equipment. We have it says 2. I thought it was 3 mowers.
It is. It's 2 lines. One of them has 2 mowers in it.
Okay. I have 3 mowers that were all budgeted line items for FY22.
1 for disposal, 2 for street.
That is correct. Those are budgeted line items. We were not able to get mowers this year because of equipment availability. But for the first time, just let y'all know, I know there's some discussion out there, social media, about cutting right-of-ways. For the first time, I just want to share with you that we are, for the first time, full on grass cutters. So we filled all the slots. So I don't know if is a portion of we're having all the labor pool full, and at least in the public works and the grass cutting field, and the mowers were available to pull the trigger on it. So I'm excited if y'all allow us to go ahead and buy those 2 mowers for street and 1 for disposal, and to get back on that same system that we were on before about cutting the right of ways. So that's what
These are all budgeted items.
They're all budget items and it's under budget. The next one on knuckle boom is okay if I move on.
Yeah, keep going.
So the knuckle boom, it was one that we budgeted actually last year, and they told us it was going to be 18 months to 24 months if we ordered it to get the equipment in. And we've been working that, trying to get it done, and we had it budgeted for this year as well. And we pulled it out because it was going to be 18 to 24 months. And then actually Shannon Roberts was able to work up someone can put together us a knuckle boom that's actually under budget. And we can get that by the end of this calendar year, by December, if we go ahead and pull the trigger on it now. So it is a budgeted item, and we'd like to go ahead and get that done now. We were talking about kicking that till next fiscal year, but because we had availability of the equipment, and it's actually under budget, it was going to save us about $50,000 to go ahead and do it now in lieu of the other configuration that we were working under.
All right.
The last one you have there is under fleet maintenance. It's a heavy duty lift for working on some of the equipment that we have in the city. This was also a budgeted line item, and it is on budget for what we had budgeted in our capital budget.
So this lift is something that goes in the shop building to pick up the vehicle?
Yes, sir. It's a 15,000-pound lift. It's for lifting vehicles up for doing tire changes and brakes and all the things that they oil changes, stuff that they work on our equipment for. And it was a budgeted line item, Mr. Councilman.
All right. Any questions from Barry on these equipment purchases? All right. We've got some Main Street board appointments to make. I believe we had a slate of.
Yes, sir. Right, at a conference. So you guys were presented with a slate of names at last council meeting, and so this is where it comes up for a vote. Hopefully you still have that slate of names. If not, I can pull it back up for you prior to the vote. There was a slate of names presented to you last council meeting, and so we're asking for you guys to vote. These are replacements. This is not our annual replacement for board members. This is actually for people who had to roll off the board due to other commitments.
Yeah, if you could get us a copy of that slate. Scotty, would you mind handling those nominations of that slate?
Okay. Yes, sir. I'll be happy to do that.
All right. Then we're going to set Halloween trick-or-treat hours, our most controversial decision of the year.
Very important, sir. Sorry. Approach the bench again. Yes, sir. So again, couple requests here. We wanted you also to review not only looking at the times. We really did get a good consensus from our community that they would like to see, and I also talked today with our department heads, most importantly with police chief, about extending it just a little bit. I've given you a list of the other municipalities and their hours to include Fort Rucker. We traditionally have it from 5 to 7, and we're finding that that's just a little too early for people to get home from work. And then it's also a little short, 2 hours, and allowing people to get home at their varied times, kids' sports, all of that stuff. So we're looking really for a 3-hour span, and our suggestion is 5:30 to 8:30.
Does anybody have any objections to that recommendation from staff? 5:30 to 8:30 on Monday, October 31st.
Yes, sir.
Now, in the same term, I see you have up here dates up to 2025. We're going to consider those so we don't have to do this every year?
And you don't have to do that tonight, but it just as a suggestion, maybe next council meeting or soon, it would help for planning purposes. A lot of people do like to plan around it.
Yeah.
And I think the only conflict that you would ever have would be if it fell on a Sunday night or possibly a Wednesday. So those are things that you might want to consider. If we could set that to the end of your term, then yes, sir, you would do it one time, and then we would be able to put it on a long-term planning.
So do y'all want to handle tonight or this year tonight and discuss this at the next work session, or y'all want to go ahead and handle it all tonight? Like she said, the only decision I think that we have to make is what do we do in 2024 on that Wednesday, because that is like the note here says, a traditional church night. Do we want to do that on a Tuesday or a Thursday? Keep it on Wednesday.
The hard part is it always gets confusing for people because the 31st is the 31st, at Christmas,
I know when we changed it last year,
it was on a Sunday night.
there was still a lot of people that went out on Sunday night regardless of what the
Yes,
city
sir, they
said.
did.
So
They did.
don't
And,
think it
some
really
people would love
matters.
it.
Just keep it on that
You get
Wednesday.
lots of opinions. Some people would love it only on a weekend so that, we didn't have school kids out trick-or-treating. But I think that, you have to manage that within your own specifications. That's the only thing I saw that you might want to bring attention to. Again, it doesn't have to be handled tonight, but just thought you might want to think about that. It would certainly help for the planning calendar.
Scotty, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think we should just go ahead and do it. I mean, it's going to come back up next year again, and we have to go through it. Why not put it out there for the long-range calendar? Folks have it. I mean, to me, the 31st, that's always Halloween. And if you put another date, you're right. People are going to go back out on the 31st. This says on the 31st is a time and date.
Yeah.
I'm for doing things on holidays and stuff on the date designated.
Yes, sir.
Greg,
it doesn't really matter to me. We can do it tonight, later. I don't care.
what's your preference on the 2024?
I personally don't have a preference, so my family never participates anyway, so I leave that to people that participate. I don't want to.
As long as it's not on a Sunday night, I don't have any objections, but I don't believe we should have trick-or-treating on Sunday night.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Eugene. So we don't have to address that during this term. So, so is everybody okay with just moving forward with this schedule here?
Yep.
What we'll do is I'll entertain a motion to set trick or treating on October 31st for the next 2022 through 2025 from 5:30 to 8:30.
Eugene, I agree too on the Sunday night. I should have prefaced that.
Yeah.
Not to do it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Then we'll go to mayor's report, council member comments. Everybody good with this agenda as presented? No additions, deletions? All right, we'll go back to our work session agenda, which calls for an executive session.
It does, but there's one thing after that, and I thought it may be better to go ahead and address it since I'm not sure how long the executive session will run.
Okay.
So in your package, you have 3 ordinances that were drafted based on the proposed rate and fee changes that Barry Mott presented at the last council meeting for sewer, sanitation, and then engineering fees. So those are in there, and just for you to look at, if you decided that, and it sounded like there was consensus built around at least the sanitation and the sewer fees at the last meeting. I wanted to make sure we had these so that you could look at them and either be comfortable with them or make any changes. And the thought was to be able to implement on October 1st. You would have an opportunity to introduce them, call for a public hearing or whatever you needed to do on the first meeting in September. And then if you wanted to vote on it, the second meeting in September. So those 3 are in your packets, and I wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to discuss that here at the work session.
Is everybody okay with that? Basically, we talked about it last meeting. So we gave staff marching orders to get us a draft ordinance. They've done that. Let's review this over the next 3 weeks. Feel free to reach out to staff with any questions. Then introduce them. And what I think we should do is introduce them at the next meeting, lay them over. But when we introduce them, call for a public hearing, because that's perfectly fine, right? We can have a public hearing for an ordinance. I know we don't always. Sometimes we have to. But that way, some of these are more general in nature, such as sanitation and sewer. So the general public may want an opportunity to respond. Some of them are more special interest in nature, such as the engineering stuff are going to disproportionately affect plumbers, electricians, builders, contractors, those types of things. So, all I would ask is that we make an effort to reach out to those stakeholders and make sure they know that so whether that's, any local associations, home builders association, so much. I mean, is everybody okay with that schedule? And then I believe some of these are stair steps, some of them take effect immediately.
So the sewer and sanitation would take effect October 1st under the current proposed ordinances. Those are more, user fee based. The engineering fees for permitting, sewer taps, those kind of things, those would be stair stepped in to take effect in the proposed ordinance January of 23, and then another benchmark in October of 23, and then again in January of 24. So that 3 incremental rate increases to get to that set number, which I think was $850 for like sewer tap fees as an example, from $175 to $850.
Now, one question I had on the sanitation, because we had an escalator baked into our previous ordinance that I thought empowered staff to go up. Why do we feel the need for an additional ordinance? I mean, I'm not opposed to an additional one. I'm asking.
Well, talking to the city attorney, he didn't interpret the language to read that way. Not sure that that's pretty much what what it was. But ultimately, it also ended after 2022. So this would have been the last time that the council would have empowered staff to review based on a CPI or tie it to it. We never actually set what that was or the timeline in future years after 2022.
But this would take it into perpetuity unless the council decided some future council decided to stop that CPI increase.
Correct.
And are all 3 ordinances, do they all 3 have something similar?
I'm not sure that the fees do that deal with engineering fees.
Well, what do y'all think about that? In my mind,
the sewer and the sanitation certainly do.
Okay. I mean, do we want to find ourselves in this situation again of having to go 40 years and then you got to make a big jump, or would you rather just see $2-3 increases every year, and then that way it just goes up as the economy expands?
That's the way I prefer it.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, we can make changes to that portion of the engineering fee ordinance.
Barry, Rainer, y'all have any input on that? All right.
On these sewer tap fees and et cetera, like we're going from $350 to $850. I'm glad to see that we're not gonna do that overnight, that he's proposing to staircase it, as you call it, over several years.
Yeah, and that's the problem you run into when you don't have incremental increases. How long has it been since the rates were raised?
Some of these fees have been in effect for 50 years or more.
Yeah. So you wait that long, and then when you want to get it on market, you've got to triple it, quadruple it. Where if you're just going up at the rate of inflation, then okay. Any other questions on that? Obviously, we've got 3 weeks till our next meeting for us to review, ask questions, then we'll introduce, then we'll lay it over 2 more weeks. So it'll be a 5-week process at least if we follow that. So plenty of time to do that. So you've asked for an executive session. You give us the details on that. So economic development and legal.
Yeah, we have a couple of legal contracts that we would like to discuss with the council, as well as 2 economic development projects that we want to give you an update on.
All right. Ryan, are you certified?
Make a motion, go into executive session.
All right, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session regarding economic development and legal issues. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we expect this to take approximately 30 minutes, and we do not expect to handle any other business in work session. When we come back, we will adjourn more than likely when we come back from our work session and go right into our regular meeting.
seems like lately the spectrum's been kind of spotty.
Yeah.
Right.
You doing one of these?
Police.
Yeah, we've got 10 or 12, 10 policemen. What's Caroline gonna do?
I don't really know. I haven't talked to her. I know that they were trying to tear down 20 years worth of stuff.
That's what she was going to say, yeah.
But the contract for the website ends at the end of September. And so she's just throwing little stuff up there because they have advertisers and she doesn't want to have that money. Otherwise she'll be paying for it herself.
What's Russell doing?
I saw a picture of him on Facebook. He apparently got COVID really bad after they shut down.
He said, yes, she told me that when I saw it.
And I saw a picture of him at Rotary, because the Rotary Club set something up. See, and he looked like he'd just been living large. He was about double from the last time I saw him. But Debbie Mott, who did the pagination, I don't know if you ever knew her. She was just a good, kind person, just good. I mean, I used to look at her and go, ugh. I wish I could be half of what you are. But she did pagination, threw the pages together. For 30 years, she worked with them for 30 years. Wow. So real quiet, real unassuming, and she got a job. She has a gift for talking to old people. She would always go around through her. She goes to First Baptist, and part of her ministry was going and visiting shut-ins with someone else, and they would go. So she was really good with elderly. She was really good with kids. She volunteered in the church nursery forever. And then they hired her Tuesday through Thursday. So she has a job doing that. Yeah, that works out. And Bill Heron, one of the graphic guys, we had talked to him to apply for a job at MWR, and we saw him, and I said, how's it going? And he moved here, and his wife works at Publix, and he lives in a trailer over there. And so, anyway, he just didn't work at the Southeast Sun. He didn't, they said to him out of Fort Rucker, and he's not familiar with the area. Out of Fort Rucker, they said, well, what would you think is a fair salary? So he just put what he'd been paid, and he didn't know. And they just upped it.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. So, and I saw Denise, the other ad person, and she was just doing volunteer work at her church. And I don't know what Caroline and Russell were doing. They were going to work on their, like they had a social media company or something that died. When you just love them.
They paid their dues. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Ran that paper forever.
Yeah. Well, their dad, I worked for their dad, so I would have to differ with you. He was amazing. Yeah.
How long ago? He passed away. It's been a while.
But he was just amazing. And he used to always, he was real personable, real charming. He worked at the radio station, KMX, with the over on the other side of town. And he was the voice of Enterprise football forever and ever. He's real charming. But he used to always walk around and go, we're going to just have one child with her brains and his personality, But I loved him.
What's his name, Harold?
Howard. I love that movie. Diamond.
Oh, yeah. That way you won't be. Right. Then you're, otherwise you're blocking the whole photo, so you've got to kind of. And the chief and the mayor. You want to get you a good photo for that. They have a great photo, so just how where you stand. Congratulations on your sister.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got 6 o'clock, so I will call this City Council meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that Councilwoman Rich is absent. The rest of the council is present. If you could, please stand with me for prayer and pledge of allegiance. We have Pastor Matt Jordan from Wesley Chapel United Methodist Church.
Let's pray this evening. Father, we thank you for the wonderful opportunity to be about the business of the City of Progress. And we know that this is an evening of progress, as so many are being promoted in our police force that stand for justice in our community and protect us each and every day. Father, we are thankful for their service as they often sacrifice for their families and for others. And we are thankful that they are being honored tonight. And we are thankful as well, Father, for our City Council as they are about making our city better. And I pray that tonight that is exactly what they can do, is to continue to make our city the city of progress as we progress together. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, Council, you have before you the agenda that we discussed in the work session prior to the meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed in the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the City Council. I'll now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now recognize Mayor Cooper and Police Chief Michael Moore for presentation of badges to officers in recognition of their promotion to higher ranks. Mayor, Chief, floor is yours.
So we kind of let it all add up. Let me explain how the promotion process goes for those that are family and friends and distant enough to know that do not know what the officers and immediate officers' spouses go through, wives and kids and stuff like that. So most positions from that are getting promoted tonight range from 30 days to 45 days once I open up to that position. So FTO, you take a book home or you take studying material, you have 30 days to study for that once the application process closes. All the way up to captain, I think it's 60 days you have to study, and then you have to take a test on it. The tests, none of the tests are easy. They are very, very difficult, and it's really about how knowledge is stored in the mind, not so much anything else. So after that, the officers, we take their evaluations, the last 3 evaluations, and then they go to an oral board. The oral board is officers from other departments, divisions, wherever in the surrounding area. We request those. I reach out to that department head and ask for 3 bodies or 1 body. They send me. I don't ask for that 1 body. I ask for a body. I don't even want to know who they're sending because I want it impartial. They have to come and sit in front of a board. Sometimes it's good for people. I always had a great gift of gab. Some people did not, and they really struggle on that oral board. That's the reason why we do a culmination of all this. Once all that scoring comes in, I'm given a list and it's ranked in the top 8. As the ranks go up, obviously, less likely that you have to get to that rank because I only have 3 slots for captain. I only have 6 slots for lieutenant. I only have 10 slots for sergeant. So it gets more and more important as we go up. However, what's important about this group is we start with the corporal position. Field training officer investigations, I've changed to the actual position of corporal, which you must hold prior to applying for sergeant, lieutenant, or anything else. So that's important because that's where your supervision and leadership come from. The people that train are brand new officers coming out of the academy. So although I'm promoting all the way to the captain, we can simply say that one of the most important positions is the one that trains our new officers coming in. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the field training officers. And the first one is Daniel Choate. So the family Daniel Choate, come on up. Come on up. Officer Choate is getting promoted to the position of corporal or field training officer. And it's for all of them. If you draw blood, it's okay. That's a lot of people for doing that. Next is Amber Garbrough. The family of Amber Garbrough, step forward. Next is Alan Hendrix. Again, promoted to the position of the rank of corporal to the position of field training officer. Next is Von Madison Nichols. So the next position is a detective, again, promoted to the rank of corporal, position of investigation. So Diana Baker. Detective Chris Bird. So honorable mention, but Officer Sergeant Angie Brown, who's the school resource officer, couldn't be here tonight. I certainly want to give my thoughts and prayers to her. She lost her mother last week, and with other things going on, we want to know that we love her, and surely she could be here to understand why she can't. So, moving on to Lieutenant Mark Anderson. Mayor, you and I probably have to get in front of these. Lieutenant Robert MacDonald. So, if anybody's worked with Robert MacDonald, otherwise known as Mac, we were partners for years. He tells you like it is. If you don't like it, oh well. That's just the way it is. Well intentioned, but that's just the way it is. Can't tell you how many complaints we've gotten on it. As soon as I promoted him, and they're all uncounted, they're all just, well, he was just rude. How was he rude? Well, he told me how it is. Well, that's Mac for you. As soon as I promoted him lieutenant, we got the nicest compliment about him ever. Family coming through Montgomery said he was the most sweetest officer ever, the best thing ever. You could, and it is honest truth. You couldn't ask for a better officer in the fleet. And I said, should have promoted him the whole time. The last thing not least, Captain Louis Kidd.
Mark. Mark, come on, Mark.
How are you? Is there a wheelchair?
If there is, I don't know where one is. Huh?
All right, if we could go ahead and start getting the room back to order so we could move on with our business. Thank you, Chief and Mayor, for that, and certainly thank the officers and just as importantly their families for the sacrifices they make for all of our safety and security. We will move along with our meeting now. The next item is the privilege of the floor. So this is the part of the meeting where anybody present here tonight that wishes to address the council regarding anything that they wish for 3 minutes to address the council. Is there anyone here that wishes to do that? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to staff reports. Do we have any staff reports that were not available or that we did not go over in the work session? Looks like Leanne's coming forward.
So I'll let Leanne and Chief Moore kind of talk about their area of expertise, but I sent you an email today regarding some legislation that was recently passed by Alabama State Legislature regarding medical marijuana, and there will be some decisions that come forth, and I think on or about September 1st, people will be able to apply for licenses with the state. Currently, are things like our zoning, how law enforcement deal with it, what properties are zoned, handle that. We currently don't have zoning to address medical marijuana dispensaries or anything like that, as well as to get a business license. So with that, I'll turn it over to them to kind of talk about that. I just wanted to give you an update on it.
Yes, so we just want to make sure that the council was aware of the timeline, as there are some things coming up, because as of September 1st, a person may apply to the commission for a license for an integrated facility or for a license as a cultivator, processor, secure transporter, state testing laboratory, or dispensary. So that goes into effect on September 1st. My understanding from the information in the Act is that there are going to be allowed 37 dispensaries throughout the state. I know that that's the state regulation, but beyond the state regulation, it is up to the county commissions or the city councils, the municipalities, to determine whether they're going to allow in their areas dispensaries, processors, things like that. So prior to September 1st, we just thought it would be a good idea to make sure that council was aware of that. We currently, with our current business license ordinance, do not have a way to license someone if they went to apply to the Medical Marijuana Commission for a license and they were in our area. We don't currently have that as a licensing option under our business license, so it would be something that we would need to address if council wanted to allow that or not, and we would need to then get that updated within the business license ordinance. And then if you don't, if you discuss that and the feelings by council were to not do that, then we would want to make sure that we had something in place stating that. So, yeah.
I think what I'm up here is obviously the criminal part of it, and what does it do? And I don't think anybody really knows with allowing a dispensary what it would do or what it wouldn't do. So we certainly would want more time to investigate, entertain, and look at other cities and states that have allowed this, and has it made their crime go up? Has it made it stay the same or anything else? But to allow it here or not, that's the big question, I think, is what we'd have to look at. So criminally, would it make everything increase in crime? And I don't know. So that's just something to think about. That's my 2 cents in it. So.
Okay, so practically, we've got three weeks before our next council meeting. Staff isn't bringing us forward any recommendation to pass an ordinance at this point, right? So you're just wanting to make us aware that this is something that we need to address in the coming months, in the coming weeks.
I would think, since the state has allowed people to apply for licenses September 1st, I don't think we have to hit a September 1 deadline, but knowing that will be out there, it would be nice to know the council's preference on how to address this going forward so that when we do get calls, because I'm sure we will, whether or not it's a manufacturer, a grower, a processor, or a dispensary looking to do business in Enterprise, how do we want to treat that? So, sooner the better, but I would say sometime in September to just have an idea of what direction we need to move would be sufficient.
Now, I know the League of Municipalities is having a seminar on this next month, right?
That's right. I think it's September 13th, and Mayor Cooper and I believe you have registered to attend.
Yeah. So, at least those of us that are going to that would become more informed. I guess what I would challenge all of us to do is to do some homework.
The piece of legislation is 103 pages that I sent you today, so I know you haven't had time to read it, but I just wanted to make sure that you had it in your hands and could read it at your convenience.
Yeah. I mean, kind of my gut knee-jerk reaction, I told Jonathan this earlier, is to not be a trailblazer on these types of things. However, it sounds like there's a window of time where, we may be asked to act. I don't know, but so we're not being asked for action tonight. Let's do our homework, and we'll just, proceed at a deliberate pace on that. So, any other staff reports? Okay, we'll move on to old business. We will now review and consider a bid recommendation of 2021 Cdbg Demolition Project Phase 1. I'll introduce and call for consideration of a recommendation from David Ewing, project consultant, to award the bid for 2021 Cdbg Demolition Project Phase 1 to Hopper Moore Incorporated, doing business as BMI, in the amount of $35,350. Other bids received are as follows: Cavco Services LLC, $81,447. Harrison Earth Movers, $48,156. I'll entertain a motion to approve this recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this recommendation to accept this bid. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move on to new business, which is the adoption of FY 2023 Transportation Plan. I call for a motion to adopt the City of Enterprise Fiscal Year 2023 Transportation Plan in accordance with the Rebuild Alabama Act. The plan, adopted annually, provides that estimated revenues of $170,000 anticipated from the Rebuild Alabama Act, which is also called the Fuel Bill, fund during the 2023 fiscal year will be used to perform roadway improvements, repairs, resurfacing, reconstruction, or maintenance toward completion of the FY22 Phase 3 Master Plan Street Resurfacing List, and/or as match monies for any state or federal grant-funded projects to perform roadway improvements, repairs, resurfacing, reconstruction, or maintenance within the city's existing street road network during said fiscal year. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this plan.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the Enterprise Fiscal Year 2023 Transportation Plan. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider Resolution 081622, which is the application for funding assistance FY 2023 airport improvements. I now introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 081622, providing for the authorization of an application for airport improvement funding assistance from the State of Alabama Department of Transportation. The funding will be for the purpose of undertaking a project in fiscal year 2023 to make improvements at the Enterprise Municipal Airport. Resolution 081622 further authorizes the mayor to execute the application agreements subject to an opinion from the city attorney that the city is authorized to enter an agreement. I'll entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 081622.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now review and consider Resolution 081622A, which is the sewer utilities relocation at Highway 167 North. I introduce and call for consideration of Resolution 081622A, providing to approve supplemental agreement number 2 for utility relocation costs with the state of Alabama, acting by and through the Alabama Department of Transportation for the relocation of sewer utilities on Highway 167 North in conflict with the state's construction of project number STPAA-A115900. Resolution 081622A further authorizes the mayor to execute the agreement contingent upon ALDOT approval. I'll entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 081622A.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now authorize the mayor to execute Poly Incorporated Task Order number 52, which is the PV Park ESCC Multipurpose Sports Complex. I'll call for a motion to authorize the mayor to execute Task Order number 52 to Poly Incorporated for engineering, design, and bidding phase services for a multi-purpose sports complex located on property acquired from Enterprise State Community College at a cost not to exceed $185,000. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute this task order.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now request permission to seek bids for FY 2022 resurfacing improvements phase 3. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer Public Works Director Barry Mott to seek bids for FY 22 phase 3A and phase 3B resurfacing improvements. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
All right, with a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now request permission to seek bids for the PV Park Multi-Sport Complex. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer Public Works Director Barry Mott to seek bids for the PV Park Multi-Sport Complex development. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now request permission to purchase equipment through Public Works. I introduce and call consideration for a request from Shannon Roberts, Assistant Public Works Director, to purchase the following FY 2022 budgeted equipment. From the Disposal Department, one Hustler Excel 60-inch mower from Dowling Truck and Tractor at a cost of $11,700. For the Street Department, one Hustler Excel 60-inch mower and one Hustler Excel 66-inch mower, totaling $23,600 from Dowling Truck and Tractor. And from Sanitation, one Peterson TL3 grapple knuckle boom truck from Environmental Products Group through Sourcewell in the amount of $196,106.68. And for fleet maintenance, one Challenger 15,000-pound heavy-duty lift from Southern Equipment Sales and Service Incorporated at a cost of $11,975. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider board appointments for Main Street Board. I'll call for nominations to the 2022 Main Street Board of Directors to fill the unexpired terms of Bill Baker, Ben Jimerson, Sonny Reagan, and Ken Thomas, ending February 4th, 2024, and Shauna Lewis, ending February 4th, 2023. These nominations are now open. Do we have any?
Mr. President, I'd like to enter the following names as nominees for the 2022 Main Street Board of Directors. Adam McAllister, term ending February 2024. Katie Sawyer, term ending February 2024. Tracy Simmons, term ending February 2023. Jane Wardrobe, term ending February 2024. And Andrew Winham, term ending February 2024.
All right, Council, any other nominations? All right, we will close those nominations. I'll entertain a motion to approve the slate of nominations that Councilman Johnson presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the slate of nominees. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now set trick-or-treat hours. I introduce and call for consideration of request to set official hours for trick-or-treating in the City of Enterprise for October 31st, 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025. That's the next 4 October 31st from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to set the trick-or-treat hours for the next 4 years. Is there a second? Did we get a second on that?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, Mayor, you have a report?
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming to our policemen, men and women who recognized tonight, as I talked to the chief group today about a wonderful force that we have and how we're working together as far as anybody doing the crime must do the time. And that this city, because we had some shootings here lately, but the main thing about it is that our officers are out there and trying their best to make sure that our citizens are safe. So again, we would like to congratulate our police department for finding all of our city employees, and was Chief Davis and the doctor that was successful in the past weekend. Thank you for all that. And as I've said many times, that I will build schoolhouses, but I will not build jailhouses.
Councilman Goolsby?
I would also like to congratulate our police officers who were promoted along with their families. And I'm proud to see the work that's taking place of repairing our sidewalks on the west side neighborhood. And thank everybody for coming tonight.
Councilman Padgett?
Also like to congratulate the police officers that were promoted tonight, and thank all of you for coming.
Councilman Johnson?
Yeah, I also like to thank all our officers, and I've said it before, we have the best police force, not only in this state, but the entire United States. It's wonderful working with all these officers, and our fire department. And talking about our fire department, we had an outstanding golf tournament this weekend. I got to go out there, and Battalion Chief Cornelius Bolton did an outstanding job, Chief. You recognized him out there. The tournament was great. It was maxed out at 36 teams, 144 golfers. And we even have Mr. Townsend was out there even golfing, and Jonathan was out there. And they did a great job. In fact, I think their team finished first in net for that tournament.
Yeah, we won't explain what net means.
Yeah, I'll let you do that. But again, it was an awesome tournament. Operation Smoke Detector. It's going to help all those folks out there that don't have smoke detectors. We don't want to lose any lives out there. And again, thank you for coming. Thank you for all those folks that are online. And have a great night. Thank you.
Ditto what everybody said. Certainly, Chief Moore, please send our thanks and congratulations to the officers and all the officers. And yeah, what a great event Chief Davis Corn put on for us on Saturday. Had a great time, and I will say our city administrator, I think, has been spending a little too much time on the golf course.
Yeah,
he's the one that carried us.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, everybody have a good evening and stay safe out there. We'll see you in a few weeks. Good evening.